Hello and welcome. My name is Brett. I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not a journalist, I just want to be a vessel for some incredible people to tell some incredible stories. My guest today needs no introduction, even though he's gonna get one during the episode anyway. It's Mark Spence. I had to pull him away from doing famous people for a half a day so I could bring this to you, but I'm glad I did because it was hilarious. I had so much fun doing it, and I hope you'll think it's funny too. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Start off with an introduction. So, Mark Spence.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Spence. I've been around the block a time or two. I've done everything from flipping cars to cannonballs to just a little bit of writing every once in a while, and I've just kind of done everything.
Yeah, storyteller on a YouTube channel with over 2 million subscribers. And that's
a
VINwiki.
recent 2 million.
And your let's see, I actually have it here. your videos have a total of over 1.5 million views on that channel,
Which is crazy because there's some videos on there that have like 10 million views.
Yeah.
So
some of them just kind of filter through.
Yes, a lot of videos just get filtered through, and it's just the daily upload challenge that to get your algorithm.
You got to stay good in the algorithm.
So
that's why I'm screwed. So
it's all right. We probably got about 10 people going to watch this, and maybe like someone's grandma finds it on accident.
And then she shares it on her Facebook page with 8 friends, and then those 8 friends watch it. It's just a vicious cycle, man. Yeah. It's a vicious cycle.
Look at these handsome gentlemen. They look like my grandson.
These idiots. Army veteran.
And 12 years
in the reserves and the National Guard.
And I was active too. I've done everything.
Okay. Truck driver.
Yep. I was truck driver. When I got out, I think I had 33 different certifications on how to drive stuff, from all the trucks to tanks and just anything that moved. Water purification setups.
Cherry on that.
Cherry on that.
And former Cannonball record holder for the round trip for the C to C.
New York to LA and back to New York, and then I had the diesel record up until recently when. That
BMW.
Yeah.
Right?
The only thing we thought was ever going to beat us was a BMW. And it did.
And it did.
Fuck.
So I guess we'll roll into it. But everybody starts out with a gift. I ripped this off from another podcast.
Oh, sweet. Oh, no. I think I got to cover the bar tabs I ran up today.
No, definitely not.
What do we got here? A Brettley Boost t-shirt. Hell yeah.
A commemorative t-shirt.
I dig it. It's going to be a collectible one day. And what else is in here?
I might be a digit off.
Ooh, no. 6528 is the thing.
Nailed it.
I like that. Thank you, everybody. Put this in my office because I just put an office in my house.
Oh, check that out. So I have a couple questions from some people I know you know well. Right, so the first question, I already asked you. It's from Doug. He wants to know when you plan on acquiring a C4 Grand Sport Corvette.
Oh, gosh.
I guess the right one's just got to come along, right?
I know. When I first met Doug was going to Radwood, Detroit years ago, before he did 2725 in Angry Ursula. And I met him at his shop, and I had a $3,000 C4 Corvette. And there's a photo of me that I used on Facebook forever with my porn star mustache and a Hawaiian shirt across the hood of it. and I've owned probably a dozen C4s over the last few years because they were just easy flip cars. But I always wanted a 96 Grand Sport. And I've been so close to buying one, and stuff never worked out. And I guess 4 years ago there was this thing that came up that a bet that we had to buy a car, your dream car, within 3 years, or you got to buy a Yugo. And this bet, I was reminded last month, is the deadline's like this summer.
Oh shit!
And I ain't got C4 Grand Sport money right now.
Are they going for a lot right now?
They probably went up about 30% in value.
Okay.
The last one I tried to buy was the cheapest one in the country at $17,000. And the guy was a nutcase, and he canceled the deal multiple times. It was a pain. I just wrote it off. I'm like, dude, I'm not dealing with you. I got the money right now for it. Just sign the title, and we're good. And he never did. It actually still sits in the warehouse it was at.
No way.
Next town over. Because I do work at the dealership right next to where it's stored now.
All that
and
shit for no reason.
It. Yeah.
It's just dangling right there in front of your face.
And my big thing too is with like Facebook Marketplace and everything, and over COVID, anyone who had money was flipping cars or buying the cheap stuff. People were selling stuff, and everyone thinks they're Gas Monkey Garage, and I hate it.
Yeah.
And then you got all these crypto kids and people that want to be famous, and they just drive up the value of these cars that aren't worth what they're worth.
For sure. COVID was bad for it. Mm-hmm. It was bad for the car market. It was great for the car market at the time, and then it was really bad for it.
It's still bad.
Yeah.
I'm not... let's see. A Mint Miata was $5,000. Now, a Mint Miata is $15,000.
Yeah.
And a Miata's not a $15,000 car, in my opinion.
I don't think it was new.
Yeah.
I don't think it was brand new.
No, it was like $16,500 if you got the hard top with the heated back window.
Right,
okay?
right.
But
and now the hard top's $5,000. Yeah, by itself.
Shoot, I bought a hard top out of a junkyard for $50 at a pull apart, put it next to my garage, and a tree fell on it.
Damn, you were sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah, I'm like, oh shoot, there's my...
There goes my life savings right next to my carton
life
of
savings
eggs.
are gone. I didn't even own a Miata. I just knew how desirable they were.
It's like the hard tops on S2000, so you can sell those for
yeah.
buku money. He wanted me to ask you about adopting a dog on a Cannonball.
Oh well, that was on the way back from when we did 2830 in the TDI. On the way back, we're in the desert of California. We roll up to a gas station, and there's a cute dog tied up to a little pole. I was like, "Oh, probably belongs to the owner." God, I don't even know what town. It's like something Beacon, California. It's between LA and Vegas in the middle of the desert. One little bullcrap gas station with a tow truck and a trailer park next to it, and that's it. And I walk in, I was like, "Oh, it's a nice dog you got out there," because I pet it, and he's like, "Not my dog." He's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, someone abandoned it here."
Wow.
And I'm just hoping someone takes it. And this is during COVID.
Right.
And we're going up to my buddy Sean's mom's house in Vegas, and I'm calling rescue groups. I'm like, "Hey, can you take a dog? I just got this dog out of the desert. It's a cute little pit bull." And that's about it. Like, the dog, we brought the dog back to Ohio with us because no one could take it.
Right.
And then my buddy Sean was talking to this woman that's not his current wife. I'll say that right now. And in case he's listening. But and she took the dog up to he went up to New York to go do stuff with her, and then she kept the dog for her son. So
it's an Ohio resident.
Oh, it's a New York resident now.
Okay. You rescued a dog, though.
And, yeah.
Long story short.
And he was a good boy, but like he just pooped everywhere. But every hotel room we were
in.
No
reason to tie it to a post in wherever, but California. God, I hate people.
And I wish I was in a better position. I would have kept the dog myself. But.
Yeah, but you still did a good thing. So the next one, what happened when you and Travis went to Daytona 500?
A lot of things happened.
Did you fall asleep during the race?
Yes.
He wanted me to ask you about that specifically.
So, for Travis Bell's 50th birthday, we all went down to the Daytona 500 last year. And it was...
Oh, this was recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the last time that I really hung out with Rob Pitts because he was there.
Right.
He had just finished filming a bunch of his stuff, so we came in the Daytona for that. And we just drank.
Naturally.
Because Travis isn't a drinker, but everybody else is. Like, his daughter's a drinker. Our buddy Dan Dillon was there. Like, everybody had fun.
Yeah.
And it's just Daytona 500. We got our coolers full of White Claws and the Monster Energy drink, hard Monsters. That's what I was drinking.
Right. A couple of those were terrible. A couple of them were really good.
Oh, they're horrible.
Yeah. It's like the hard Baja.
And so we're there, and I guess I fell asleep. And we're like 10 rows back at the finish line. We're in these amazing seats. And there's pictures of me. Everyone's taking group pictures. I'm just knocked out during the race.
That's during the race.
Yes, 10 laps in.
Oh my.
And it was just...
You can go to like ARCA, you can go to whatever. The cars are all the same volume.
I think I did the same thing the night before at the truck race. I can't sit in one spot for a long period of time. It's like my body goes into some weird form where when I start scooting down, and then
we're gonna pan over to this like 20 minutes in. It's just
gonna be sitting there snoring.
And then the second one from Travis. I have to read his words specifically just because of the way he typed it was funny. Let's see, where's Travis at? He said, "Make sure you ask him about flipping a go-kart on my property during testing with, all caps, no one else on the track."
Well, a few years ago when he did the Backyard 500, when it was just a bunch of us adults in yard carts. Mm-hmm. So those are go-karts with car bodies on them, and they look like NASCAR. And
they got like the Briggs Predator motors.
Yeah. And a lot of those are a lot of them are promotional items. Like you give away if you buy like 18 boxes of Budweiser or something like that, or you got a deal on GoDaddy.com or some shit like that.
I should get something from Bush at this point then. It's not this hat. This hat's a TJ Maxx special.
But the first time ever out there, because he's got that big walk path, which is like 3 go-karts wide, and it's just great. It's PRI weekend. We're out there, and it's a little wet out. And I just I cut it a bit too much, because those carts, it's either under or too much.
Yeah.
And all I remember is the thing sideways, hitting the grass like a Days of Thunder moment, just flipping.
Oh my goodness.
And with nobody there.
I was going to say, was it one of the sections where there were a lot of people sitting there?
There was nobody there. It was just a test night. Because there was another time, too, when that race actually happened. There's a Widowmaker. Anyways, going back there, when I wrecked it the first time in my Miller Lite car, I'm just covered in mud. It was soft. I think if the ground was harder, I would have actually hurt myself. But I'm just covered in mud down my face, my hoodie, everything. I just couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't believe it happened. But during the actual race, during qualifying, there's a 90-degree turn. It's a Widowmaker. You got to hit it just right to do it. I horribly messed up.
Didn't hit it just right.
I was one of 3 people that messed up on this turn. And the carts just slide instead of turning. And it did the same thing, a Days of Thunder moment. Just, my helmet hit the ground. I scraped it. I even still got the scar right here on my arm.
It happened in slow motion.
Yeah. And it's just, and I wasn't wearing protective gear. I was in a t-shirt with a helmet on, no gloves. And my arm was just trash.
So if you're going out on a Gixxer 600, it's like flip-flops, helmet though. I need that helmet.
And that time, I didn't get out of the car. I rolled with the car.
Oh, man.
The other time I got ejected, no, we were in there. We're stuffing these things because we're old men and kids' toys. And,
I'd rather get ejected. I feel like.
Oh my gosh! And it just.
I'd rather take just the one impact and some scrapes rather than.
And after that race, my cart never ran right again. I found out that the fuel tank got loose, so the air mixture with it, you kept getting bubbles and cutting out and all that. And,
right. Oh man, I was. So I had messaged Travis before this, and I was like, or no, did Travis message? It doesn't matter. I was waiting for what he wanted me to ask you, right? And I'm at work, building tanks. I got my AirBot in, just listening to. I had just like a VINwiki playlist on, and he was talking about his son-in-law wrecking on that Widowmaker.
Yeah, we wrecked in the same spot. His brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law.
Yep.
And then I get the little Siri notification, Travis Bell said, and he started telling me about that. I'm like, you gotta fucking be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. So where are you from, and where were you raised, and how'd you end up here? We're in Willoughby, Ohio at, is it Wetzel's?
Yeah.
Wetzel's, by the way.
Named after a doctor that never moved to this city. It's funny.
To get him to move to the city.
But no, I grew up out on the PA-Ohio border. out in a town called Roaming Shores. It's a lake. So I grew up with like jet skis and all that stuff and fishing and all that.
Okay.
And now Willoughby's about 25 miles east of Cleveland. So that, if you even know where Cleveland, Ohio is, because there's a Cleveland in every state, I feel like.
I think there is too.
It's like one of those random generic names. But we're the best, so.
Top tier Cleveland.
And yeah, so that's me. I'm just a dude. Who's just had awesome opportunities to get into things.
100%.
So I've done everything under the sun automotive wise, and I've owned a lot of cars, and I've always owned interesting stuff that I've met people off of that, and that's just me. I'm hard to talk about. I've sat in the right chairs at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, how did that happen? I'm sitting in the VINwiki chair.
Gosh, I gotta go back and think about this.
So there's probably a couple connections that happened to be connections that just ended up working.
So I knew Radwood was going on up in Detroit, and I saw online that there was a group of people going up there. I'm like, okay, cool. And I bought a Corvette specifically to go to this. It was a $3,000 Corvette. It was an awesome car. And we happened to be getting together down at Switch Cars at Doug's shop. That's the first time I ever met Doug. And he had Seascape, that weird Ford Explorer at the time.
Okay.
It's a crazy 90s SEMA build that he bought out in Georgia.
I feel like I remember it.
I'll
find Seascape.
Yeah, it was a VINwiki store because they bought it in a McDonald's parking lot.
I mean, that's where the best shit happens.
Yeah, and that's about it. Like a week after that, Doug was like, "Hey, I need some help. I need some spotters for this. I'm doing the Cannonball." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So, and that's when I met my buddy Sean, who helped me install a CB radio on my Subaru that night. And from there, he asked me, he's like, "Hey, I got a third team member that can't do it. Do you want to do it?" And that's how that happened.
Gotcha. Which run was that?
That was my TDI run, 2830.
Okay.
When Angry Ursula got demolished by a semi-truck.
That's right. How far away were you when...
That was outside of Chicago.
Right.
We were... What state's next to Illinois? What is that? Iowa?
Sounds right. I don't know geography.
Something like that. We were on the state border. And that's when Arnie pulled over and the semi-truck hit him.
Right.
And the semi-truck was coming at about 35, 40 miles an hour, just veering off ever so slightly right towards my car. This all happened so quickly. Another second, and I probably would have got hit by my own car. It happened so quickly, it was hard to understand exactly what happened. So now, with my car in the middle of the road, the side of the road into the ditch at 40 miles an hour.
So
how crazy is it that they actually caught that on video, though? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just right place, wrong.
I remember looking through the binoculars, and all I see is smoke. Just like something blew up in front of us.
So. What a heart-dropping kind of thing, too, because that already had the record at the time.
Yep. And then when we finished our 2830, that's when that Audi A8L came in. That night, Ed messaged up. He's like, "Hey, someone just messaged us saying they're doing a run right now, and they're an hour out from you." But we're like, "What?"
Right.
And that's when Chris Allen did it in this Audi A8L with his brother, and then I think Cale or Dale. His other driver worked for Elon Musk. He did something with the rockets, SpaceX.
No shit.
He worked for SpaceX.
Okay.
So he didn't really want to be out there.
That's a pretty well-documented run, too. I mean, it's like kind of under the radar, but it's not because everything's out there. Like, there's compilations of...
Here's the thing. All any more to do with Cannonball, all it takes is money.
Yeah.
Because you know what time, what team hit that state border. And if you keep a running tally on, I got to hit Ohio at 4 hours, 57 minutes in, and then this will be my average to get to this time. Because I'm not a math person, but
right.
I got other teammates.
But I can drive fast.
Yes.
Yeah, the people that are there know math, too. I guess for anybody that's watching that doesn't know what Cannonball is, the Cannonball... I don't know all the history, but there's a bunch of videos out there that explain the entire timeline of this. But you start at the Red Ball Garage in New York City and end at the Portofino Hotel in... Is it in Los Angeles or it's on the outskirts of Los Angeles?
It's in LA.
Yeah, I mean, it's LA County, same thing. The record's been made and beaten a million times so far. That's where we're at right now.
Shoot, Alex Roy did it in like 06, 07, I think.
And that
and
M5.
then Ed did it in 13. And then Doug and Artie did it in 19 or 20. I can't remember all the dates. Every day I go online, someone's claiming I got this record or that record. And just kind of annoying to me anymore.
Ed held it for that long?
Yep.
Holy shit.
And then within that year and a half, it got broke four times, I think.
Yeah.
4 or 5 times. I can't keep up with this. We got a dude named Mason that just lives on the spreadsheets for it.
I mean, he's in charge of keeping track of that. That was, I mean, he was on Good Morning America. He was on a bunch of shit for that too, and it's all like
best I got was Car and Driver.
That's pretty big.
That's
pretty damn big.
A quarter page in a Car and Driver article.
I mean, I read Car and Driver a couple times.
It's not mine. It's not even in the book.
Who gets the book anymore? Let's be real.
I would just like to have that so I can hang it up and be like, hey, that's me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some eagle-eyed person out there would be more than happy to try to track that down.
That, yeah, because that was in the SL500 I got in Car and Driver with that.
Okay.
And that's when we left. So when they did 25, 20, 39 or whatever the record is now, I can never keep up with it.
I think it was 25-39. I feel like that number
And when they did
out.
the S6, I rode out there with them because I was invited to do the C2C because I was doing nothing. And we had the SL500. It was Chris's car. We drove the S6 out there, dressed up like the fake cop car, and it worked
perfectly.
Everyone got out of the way. And then good people knew it wasn't a cop car.
Yeah.
We rolled up on this Challenger, and the dude just gets over immediately. And then you just see him kind of looking, and then he just takes off. He's like, that wasn't no cop car.
I mean, there were CB whips on that.
Yeah.
And there were all that. It was like the reflective tape. And
like
shit.
right now, that car it's a little wild now. Like Arnie's done some things to it. But back then, it was just a white Audi with a Ford sticker on the front, and it was great. The wheels were blacked out. Everything was great.
It ended up perfectly. It was even Ursula, right?
Yep.
That was
because Ursula was like a Honda Accord.
It was just the silver passenger car.
Yep.
That's all it was. How did your military journey work? I guess when did you get the inkling? When did you? I
was 21 years old. It was January because I turned 22 in April because I left right after my 22nd birthday. I literally woke up. I'm like, I'm either going to go do this or talk about it. Because I was supposed to join when I was 18, but my dad died.
Okay.
Like 3 weeks before I was supposed to ship out. And they got me out of it. And I'm like, I can't go. I'm messed up from this and all this. And so by the time I was 21 is when I was like, I got to go do this or I'll never do it. So I did that. And I went out. I was at Fort Leonard Wood for a little bit. And then I came home to the National Guard. Because I didn't like it out there. I just wanted to come home. And so I finished my first contract out in the Guard.
And there's a National Guard post relatively. Is there one in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where my first one was.
Gotcha.
So I went into that, and my contract ended, and you go on like 2-year extensions. They can call you back. And I'm like, you know what? I'm bored. I just want to go back in. So that's when I joined the reserves. They're like, hey, there's a deployment coming up. You want to come do this? I'm like, okay, screw it. I'll go do it. And then I liked it. I stayed in. It was fun until it wasn't fun. And that's when it got to the point where I'm like, it's time for me to get out.
Gotcha.
I miss it, but it's the way the world is now.
I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
I mean, unless I were, I don't know, I was telling you about this just a little bit ago. Like,
Yeah.
I originally wanted to fly something.
Yeah.
I didn't care if I was flying a Chinook, just doing, they don't do nothing, but if I was just transporting cargo,
Yeah.
I didn't give a shit. Like, I wanted to fly something. Like the B-2, hell yeah, let me fly that big old flat thing. Or an A-10. Like, I've always wanted to fly an A-10.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about badass close air support. Every time you shoot that thing, I always wanted to fly that. But they test this was a while ago, but they test your eyes. Mm-hmm. And he was like, go ahead and take off your glasses. I was like, I'll see you later, buddy. Thanks for the info.
And I just remember that when they give you the birth control glasses, the big thick boys, they had to custom order mine. So I didn't have my right glasses. Sure. They were a little bit thicker than those. I didn't have my glasses till like 2 weeks into basic training. So I still had contacts. I had contacts up until like 2 days before the gas chamber. That's when I finally got my glasses.
I was going to say, going through basic with contacts had to have sucked.
It did. Well, also, I wear contacts until they fall out. I was so bad with taking care of contacts.
Right.
Which is probably why I got LASIK now, because literally a contact fell out. I didn't have any left. And I had, it was like a Tuesday. I had laser eyes by Friday. So.
Wow. That's kind of like it's an overnight kind of thing. Where
Yeah.
like, what the hell? Okay, I can see now. I know it probably sucks for a little bit. Oh.
The whole like day and a half of your eyes just hurting from it. That's all it gives that little, whatever your eyes do to heal a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you're back to just normal.
For sure. What was there like a turning point to where you realized, because you said it was fun until it wasn't fun. Was there one specific thing where you realized it wasn't fun, or was it?
It kind of was COVID that caused it.
Okay.
Because they kicked a lot of people out for not getting the vaccine.
Right.
And then a lot of my buddies who are good friends of mine still today got out because their contract was up. They're like, you know what, this sucks. I'm not going to do it. And they didn't give any bonuses for us back then. And then last couple of years, it's just the young kids all suck. Everyone's entitled.
Heard that a time or two. It's crazy that so many people left because, you know, fuck it. It's crazy that so many people left because of the vaccine, right? But I'm just gonna say it, when we're purging people for literally doing fucking nothing all day. It's like, hey, give me 5 things you did last week, and they're like, fuck you. No, I'm not doing that. It's crazy. I'll probably end up cutting that out because that's literally just a rant, but it's fucked up.
And you're allowed to, it's your podcast. You're allowed to rant about anything.
I guess.
Because I've worked for companies too that they ask you weekly, what did you do this week?
Yeah, it's like, dude, and
that's a
in
common
the private
thing.
sector, it's such a common thing. But when you ask a government employee, it's like, oh, you can't do that. Not in my house. You can't do that.
Like, I remember I had to update a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, they didn't have my right phone number for the longest time. It took a year and a half for my paperwork to have the right phone number on it. I'm like, how's that a thing?
Because it goes through 45 people to try to get that onto a piece of paper.
I would know I had doctor's appointments when I got it in the mail. They're like, oh, we couldn't get contact with you. Well,
no shit. Yeah. No shit, you can get in contact with
thankfully, the new like VA apps and stuff like that, I can edit it all myself now.
Right. That's cool. It goes into one central thing. So did you start getting into... I feel like with most of us, you start getting into cars real young. When it's kind of like most people kind of look at you weird because you're 8 years old and you're starting to get into cars. But where did it start for you?
Oh, my dad was a huge car guy.
Okay.
Big Mopar guy growing up. And I grew up with cars. And then like most people, it starts with a Hot Wheels car.
Yep.
Engineers start with Lego sets. Car guys start with Hot Wheels cars.
100%.
And that's kind of where it was. I started growing my Hot Wheels collection, which is 15,000 estimated cars right now. It's massive.
Huge.
And I haven't bought anything in a few years because I got out of it. And I can't have more than one hobby. It just gets... I tried to get into collector cards, like those Allen and Ginner sets, which are pretty cool.
Right.
I spent $150 on that, ripped them open. I'm like, an hour into it, I'm like, what am I going to do with all these?
Those little collector things are getting crazy. Because I tried to find... As soon as you said yes to doing this, I was like, all right, because I knew I wanted to like start off with like a small gift every episode, right? And I was trying to find like a small scale model of like a 9.5 or something like that. It's a 9.5. It's a boring car. Let's be honest. They're great cars. They're boring cars. Nobody fucking makes it.
Exactly.
So when you find one, it's like $175, and I'm like, I can't justify that for something. It was like $20.
God, there's a weird collector set out there, and like it'll be like a Chrysler Concorde LHS in 1/18 scale, and they have like 20 other like just boring cars like that.
Yeah.
And I think that company makes a Saab, but
I can't remember.
Saabs are a weird brand. I've owned a couple. I didn't think I'd be in this weird Saab folklore category, but I am. And
it's a thing. I had an what year was that car? It was right when the body changed on the 93. It was an 08 93. And like it was like my first car that I'd financed. It was like it was the first car I actually thought was like it was fucking sweet because they were cool cars. And I just got it because it's a Cobalt SS and not quite a full shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Or not like a full tuxedo, but like it's got a tie on.
It's a Cobalt SS with good credit and no kids.
Yes, and you can tell there's a Pantera shirt underneath that dress shirt. And it was just cool. It was a 2-liter turbo car, almost straight out of the SS's. I guess it's a little bit different, but...
I know that GM bought Saab for their fuel injection technology. So, but I had a 99 9.3, which was awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Then I had my 08 9.5, which was a stick car, which I loved.
That was a stick car. I didn't know they made those in stick. That's cool.
Yep.
That's so cool. The Saab folklore, the Saab community, they're a little bit crazy, but so were the cars. Like, that car had so many quirks that were just fucking stupid that...
The night panel.
The night panel
is one of my favorite things.
It's God, this was a long time. It was when I first got that car. Because what did the night panel do? It turned off everything except up
the
to
speedometer.
80.
So say you're doing 50 miles an hour and you hit the night panel button, the 50's lit up, the 40 and the 60, but nothing else is.
Okay.
It kills the lights on the entire dash, which is awesome to do.
But then when you hit it, it lights up everything else.
It rotates up, yeah.
So like I made a video, and it was, I think I just took it on Snapchat at the time, but it was just doing a poll, and then it hit the 60 or 80, whatever it was. Everything else lit up, and then the Xbox achievement unlocked from the video. It's just they're cool, quirky cars. I want to get into the 9.5 run with you here in a little bit, but let's take a quick break, and then we'll start kind of getting into the Cannonball stuff and all of that. Today's video is brought to you by the subscribe button. It is 100% free. And if you use my discount code, there is no discount code, it takes 100% off of the price, keeping it absolutely free. So if you like the video and want to see more of this, I encourage you to subscribe. I guess where do we start on that? Because Neoclassics was early.
Yeah.
But the whole exotic car thing
That was COVID.
Okay. So it wasn't that early, but it was.
I've just always been into cars.
Right.
And that's what happens. You just graft into people and all that. And because I did construction for a long time. I made concrete.
Okay.
I didn't pour concrete. I made it in plants and all that. And so I did that. And yeah, and then during COVID's when I got my buddy John hired me to work at his dealership. And that just it was awesome because I had a blank check to do whatever I wanted. As long as I made him money, he didn't care, and it was awesome.
So what was your, quote unquote, what was your job at the dealership?
Inventory management.
Okay.
And I'd go to dealerships and buy wholesale and go to auctions and stuff, and it'd be like, oh, that's a nice Corvette. I'm going to buy it.
Right.
And that'd be inventory, and...
So it was like a smaller,
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know when you get into, the bigger dealerships, you have a buyer that most of the time doesn't do shit all day. You have your inventory manager who is just like a porter, is the head porter. That's where those smaller dealerships get cool. So that was exotic car stuff, or?
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, it was everything.
Okay.
We had everything from Saturns to Ferraris. So, but it was fun, and then it just started not being fun, and I was like, I gotta move on, and that's when I left there to go do ballistic testing on military equipment. I was shooting armor in a lab all day, and I hated it.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be cool, though. I mean, was it cool for a little bit, and then you just got bored of it, or?
I don't know. I wanted to try something different. I didn't like it, and I was working with a buddy of mine I didn't want to disappoint.
Gotcha.
And then he's no longer a friend of mine anymore.
Gotcha.
I'll just say that.
Okay.
But anyways, what was cool about that, working for Neo and my buddy John, it's just, we liked the same kinds of cars.
It's gotta make it easier.
And it'd be like, my Land Cruiser, it's like 5 in the morning here. And I'm on Facebook Marketplace looking in Vegas for a truck to drive back. Because I find this Land Cruiser, I go over there, let's see, how did this go? I messaged the dude at 7 o'clock in the morning, is this still available? At 10 o'clock, I was on a flight to Vegas to buy it.
What was it?
Toyota Land Cruiser.
Oh, that's right. I zoned out during that.
Yes, one of the straight 6 ones. Awesome truck. And I just drove it back. I don't know how...
It's a Land Cruiser. You can do that shit.
I don't know how I've done this so many times with cars and never had an issue. And thank God. Because me sitting on the side of the road in Utah somewhere, what am I going to do? I don't know anybody here. I don't have a toolbox.
Yeah. Phone's dead. I don't know nobody. Fucking.
Well, my phone wouldn't be dead. I just have no signal.
Yeah, there's really nothing out there.
Like when you drive through Nebraska, as soon as you enter Nebraska and leave Nebraska on 80, I have no cell phone signal. But yeah, so that was a fun trip back, and I've done that a few other times with cars, and that's just stuff I like doing.
Yeah.
Because if I buy a car out west and drive it back, I can flip it and pay for the trip. And anymore, I don't care if I make money on a car or not.
Yeah.
As long as it's, in quotations, break even, kind of, I'm happy.
Yeah, and you get an experience out of it. So like the signal thing, because I wanted to kind of dive into like the Cannonball stuff. All the equipment on a Cannonball prepped car. I guess me never being in that space or really having anything to do with it.
No, it depends on what we're talking about, because everyone's different.
Okay.
Like, everyone has their cars differently. Some guys have ALP, which is all laser production. Some cars have jammers. Some guys don't even use anything. You just use your eyes and Waze.
Yeah, like binoculars and
shit. Yeah, like when we did the musket ball, John Ficar did it in his old Audi with nothing. They just drove.
No shit.
And a map, which is that's how they did it back in the day.
That's cool. I mean, I think like the cool factor is through the roof, and then you get into your Arnie and Doug on their own, where they have all of the equipment. I don't know. I guess like how does that shit work when, like you said, you drive through Utah where there's nothing. You drive through like Nebraska where in spots there's nothing. I guess like how do you gauge how reliable all that shit can be with no service, with no?
That's another thing too. Like Waze. Waze gathers the information from locals.
Yeah, Waze is crowdsourced.
He has Waves. I have Waves. He's got Waves. If he marks a cop, it sees for us. That's three people within 5 feet of each other.
Right.
Imagine out in Utah or Nevada and stuff like that, where there's one person per 5 miles.
I was gonna say you can go miles and
there's
not see
nothing
anybody.
to crowdsource out there. So that really only works from Chicago all the way to Nevada, Las Vegas. I feel like you don't have enough crowdsourcing out there to make it worth it, so you got to use your eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe a few places like going through Denver, or where's Slipknot from? Des Moines, Iowa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going through there, you might have it.
Yeah, where it's more populated and shit.
Again, too, when you're running through those cities, you're through the city before you even really it matters.
Yeah. You can be through a place like Salt Lake, which is big, but there's not a lot of people. Which is, I mean, you can be through there in a matter of minutes.
It's just a gamble. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Cannonball's nothing but a gamble.
So,
and with more and more people doing it, you're going to come across someone's going to get hurt eventually.
Yeah. It's crazy that no one's been really hurt yet. Ursula got hurt, but that's, I mean.
Yeah, but they all walked, they were out of the cars.
They weren't even in it.
Yeah. We did have a really bad close call because our buddies from New York beat us by 9 minutes. 2 weeks after we did the 65-28.
Wow.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And Bennett and all them are good dudes. And they were the team we thought would do it. And it just sucks. I'm on the way back from racing at the Backyard 500, and I get the call and I find out.
Yeah.
So, and then we tried to go back again because Nick had sent the Saab engine out to some place down in Florida, some big tuner, and then it got finished and stuck in the hurricane. So they drove down to get the engine to bring it back. Well, we're hauling through Pennsylvania, and this dude, there's a video out there, we're doing about $120. He comes on the freeway below the speed limit and gets right into the fast lane. And we locked up the brakes. We locked up the brakes. And we put flat spots in 4 tires and broken axle.
Holy shit.
And that called it. We were 4 hours into it.
Yeah, naturally.
And there's nothing you can fix it. That's bad juju. We were ruined. So.
It all kind of pans out that way. I mean, because like I know from. I'm trying to think what Saab tuners in Florida, because I use JZW, but I'm pretty sure that was out southwest.
I don't even know who it is. So.
Yeah, I can't even think of it. I tried to do like a. I don't want to say it was a mini Cannonball because that wasn't even the thought. I was just late for work, right? But I had lived in Findlay and worked in Lima, so which is if you plug it into your GPS, it's like a 39. Well, to the dealership, it was like a 43-minute drive if you took the back roads and shit. But I was on my bike, and I'm like, I'm late. I woke up at 7 o'clock. I'm supposed to be there in a few minutes. So I used Waze, and then I split screen it with Flight Radar, which I know Doug and Arnie use like that overhead plane detector, which is probably a lot more advanced than Flight Radar. The overhead plane detector. That's just it's a crazy thought ahead of time.
But it's
too.
a thing.
It's a thing. I mean,
Right.
I think I made it. I think I made that drive in like 14, 15 minutes. But there was no one on the road or anything. But I'm curious as to like how your C to C in the Saab. I just kind of want to hear how that day planned out. I mean, I know it was a couple days, but like what were some of the highlights from that? What stood out to you? Like if you could just kind of tell me the story of how that ended up going.
Well, here's the thing with Cannonballs. It's not like it's a party. It's 3 stinky dudes in a car. You're not showering, you're sweating, and there's no music playing, there's almost no talking, and you got to be able to focus and go as fast as you can.
Right.
And safely.
Because it's serious. It's not. Yeah, you're not.
It's gotta
out there
be
to have a good time. We're going to make a good time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, you always got your CB radio going, which I've never had a single person pick up on a CB radio when we've had the best stuff. And I had one semi-truck driver here in Ohio on 80 that talked into us saying, "Oh, these people are going fast." And then I had some dude preaching the Bible in New Jersey. Like, nobody uses CB radios anymore.
He's like reciting Bible verses.
The whole
and shit.
thing's on Seek or whatever it is, where it's going through trying to pick up stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, so the CB's kind of useless then.
Yeah, and then one person's always asleep in the back seat, and just a constant rotation. And you just got to pay attention. Like, Chicago's a pain to go through.
Yeah.
Because there's a few exits on Chicago, you're making the exit, and there's another exit, you end up on this exit instead of that.
Right.
And that slows you down. It's just, you have to be exact, and you have to know where you're at.
Okay.
You can't just free ball it and just do it.
Yeah, you got to be calculated. You can't kind of
And like, you get
go
into LA,
blind.
one little mess up in LA could set you back 20 minutes.
I feel like out of all the stories I've listened to about people making these runs, it's like LA is always the caveat. LA is always the...
I've never made it into LA. I'm like at 7 or 8 runs now, counting C to C. I count that as twice. And it's just, I always mess up in LA. There's no doubt. Every time I go in there, I come out of the desert, you go through the mountains, see all the smog and all that crap. You know you're in LA because you can see it. Every time when you're pulling in the Redondo Beach, I mess up every time I go in there. I either make a left turn or right turn, get stuck at a light. And during the Musket Ball, when we all left at the same time, we had 40 cars leaving Darien, Connecticut. We were all within 2 hours of each other. At that finish line in LA, I got pinned by Ed in his Corolla because we were in a Citroen. And
You're a Citroen?
Citroen XM.
How the fuck did you... different story. But
Oh my God.
Either way,
That's a whole nother thing. So we'll get to that real soon.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
You always get pinned. And we were at a stoplight, and I saw 2 other teams make the right and go up the road right to the finish line. And we had no clue the other guys were near us. But I like the more team events anymore. The big runs just take so much out of you.
Yeah, because it's a whole conglomerate effort between you and 3 dudes.
Yep.
You know? Or
And,
between you and 2 dudes.
Like when we do stuff like, I love the Musket Ball. All the cheap cars.
That low horsepower,
That was
cheap
the
cars.
100 horsepower car race.
Yeah.
We had dynos, everything. And I love the Southern Classic, which is Atlanta to Texarkana and back. You got to go buy a bottle of Coors and drive it back to Atlanta. And that's a fun time.
If it makes it back empty, does that count?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was the East Coast batch, which was Maine, like Bar Harbor, Maine, to Key West.
Okay.
I know somebody went to prison over that race.
No shit.
He got arrested in Washington, D.C., and then never paid his ticket. Or where's Quantico at? Where's that little stretch right there?
Somewhere in Virginia.
Whatever.
Yeah.
He got arrested, and he got pulled over somewhere he shouldn't have been pulled over, and it cost him a lot.
Oh,
And he went
wow.
to jail over it. So, in a Crown Vic.
Like if I'm getting sent to prison over something, it's not going to be in a Panther chassis car. Like I want to be doing something fucking sweet.
But right where I don't think it's called Quantico. Where's FBI get trained at?
In Quantico.
Is that Quantico?
Yep.
Well, you see the sign for it, and there's a freeway. I think it's 75 north or whatever. It goes up down the East Coast. The speed limit there is like 40 miles an hour on the freeway. You go so slow going through that section, and if you speed, you get pointed at, and he rolled through there doing 100 plus.
Oh man!
And I think a helicopter got him, and then he got pulled over far outside, and just. It was been a long time since I heard the story because I've never done the East Coast Bash and I always wanted to, but things fell apart. Some of the old guys don't do stuff like they used to, and the newer people into the whole Cannonball scene are just I'm gonna get yelled at for saying this.
Fuck them. Talk your shit.
It's look at me. I did this. I'm known for this, and it'll be like I rode a Vespa with the cat ears on, and I'm the fastest person to do that.
Yeah, micro records and shit.
Yeah. And
it's like you see it in drag racing too. It's the fastest GTR with stock turbo location and only 70% rear bias.
And it's got the rare gold AMS sticker on the side window. Like my Corvette's the best Corvette because of blah blah blah.
It's one of one. Anyway, sorry.
But
throw that in there.
Great, now I'm getting thrown. I got ADD. We can't be talking about a million things.
I think I forgot to take my medicine too. So,
but I enjoy that stuff. The small races are cool. But a couple years ago, I had to take a step back from doing fun stuff because the money ran out, the fun wasn't being had, and I had to be a responsible adult. So
it's overrated, I heard.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
Yeah, I try not to. I feel like the musket ball's got to be so fun though.
We really want to do the musket ball again, but because it's a challenge to get a 100 horsepower car.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think the one I just listened to, they had to like detune their TDI.
Mm-hmm.
And they were still over, but I mean, maybe not.
Listen,
not by
those
much.
tunes, you just press OK twice and the arrow up 3 times, you got a different tune.
Yeah. I know where the up arrow is.
Yeah,
I can find that. It's no problem.
We're not dumb.
Yeah.
Every TDI.
But I mean, like between 100 horsepower, 100 and whatever it is, and like 130, like what's the
So in our Citroen on that,
there?
our top speed, I got it to 125 out in Texas when I hit my first armadillo. And there's this dude named Bronson. I think he currently has the Southern thing, right? It's like Jacksonville, Florida, to someplace in California. It's the smallest connection point between the country. He's a good dude, big old Texas boy. He had a TDI, he had like a Mark 6 TDI, and I would like look in the rearview mirror, and someone's coming, and he'd pass us, and then he'd pass us again. He was running out of fuel so much, the diesel, like he stopped at every gas station when he got out to Texas. And he did it with his wife. And, but it's like, how's that car that fast?
We know how it's that fast.
you got a Kerma TDI tune, and what is it, the CAN bus they call it or whatever?
Yeah.
You press OK and then up and down and change the tune and shit.
He knew where the up arrow was.
Yeah, he did and my buddy Bradley, and they had a white TDI sport wagon that was dressed up like an ambulance. And they got pulled over, and they're like, we know you're lying, but I can't prove this just in case you're not lying. And that's a funny story out of all that. But like his, God, I can't think of the dude's name. The guy that owned the car, but he's like a big tuner. He's great mechanics, done stuff with roadkill and all that. And like when they put his car on the dyno, he's like looking over their shoulder, like, what are you doing?
It's like, do you make sure you put the inertia correction in there right? And I mean, make sure you put it real high.
And then you had guys throw their CVTs on there, like the Corolla. It would only dyno maybe at like 88 horsepower, but it had like 130.
Okay, because
like I guess there's an issue with dynoing CVTs and stuff.
You're like, I don't know, it's just so variable. You never know.
But that was such a fun event. I met a lot of people doing that. So
what's the story on the Citroen?
Okay, when all this popped up, there's a dude named Chris Allen. He's the guy who did the A8L record.
Okay.
And I hit him up. I'm like, hey, man, you want to do this as a team? And I'm trying to remember how we even... There's an unaired podcast special Doug did of the Corona Ball. where everyone who did runs during the Corona era, we went to his shop and he had dinner and everything. And we talked about it, got awards and everything. And like, everyone was roasting each other. And like, so many people were there and the people flew in for it. It was a fun time. Like Fred Ashmore was there with his Mustang. This was before everything went down with all that. And he, and like everyone's roasting each other, and it just got really awkward because he's like, "Come on, someone say something to me, roast me." Like it got really.
Who? That was Fred?
Fred Ashmore.
Wait, with his Mustang?
Yeah.
I thought the whole thing was that was a rental car.
It was a rental, but he ended up buying it. If it's the same Mustang, we don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Dude sucks.
I was gonna say that sounds so illegitimate, dude.
But
I hope he comments on this shit.
Oh my god, my name got mashed.
Yeah, he's got some fucking search engine thing. It's like, when's my name mentioned? I don't believe it either, Fred. I'm just gonna put it out there. You ain't do that shit.
And like the video never got put on the internet. So I don't know where that's at.
It's floating
Doug's
around.
got it floating around somewhere. Or
It's up in the cloud.
But that's how I met. That's how I became friends with all those dudes. And I messaged them. I'm like, hey man, you want to do the musket ball with me? I got a Ford, not a Ford. What's the Space Duster minivan?
The Space Duster.
Transcon, the weird minivan that Pontiac made, an Oldsmobile Silhouette.
Yeah,
it was an Oldsmobile Silhouette.
Yeah, they had the Venture, the Silhouette.
And the first year Silhouette was like 92 horsepower. And then after that, it went to like a 3200 or 31. I forgot what it was.
One of them, yeah.
And I had that. And he's like, well, I got a Peugeot 205 GTI, whatever that little hatchback is. And I got a Citroen XM. And they're both 100 horsepower. And we ended up in the XM. And the entire time, I'm like, we're not going to make it. We're in a car that you have to fly everything over from France to fix. You can't fix.
Do they sell those in? Was that a U.S. market car? Okay, I didn't think it was. I'm like, I didn't think they were
in kilometers. So I'm doing about $1.25 trying to do the math in my head what I'm actually doing.
You're counting on your fingers and
hey, wake up! And like, Chris is a crazy racer. He races in all different classes, and his buddy was like one of his lawyer friends that raced with him in Philly, and it's funny because we finished the race, and like they woke up the next day and took a private jet back to Philly. They're like, you know what, we're done. So I'm up there accepting the awards and all this stuff by myself like a loser. Like, where's your team at?
It's like they flew on their private jet. They're out
sorry,
here.
my teammates left on their private jet back to Philadelphia.
You got to hold your pinky up when you say that shit too.
And like when we rolled in, the car was like some little kid tapping on a drum set, like pow, 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 pow. And he's like, I'm like, I don't know if I can even drive this back. He's like, just drop a pin. I'll send a tow truck if it breaks down. It sat for 4 days in LA. We drank, we partied, we did all kinds of stuff. I got in the car to start it, ran perfect. I'm like, yes.
What?
Car's a freak. It made it back to Philly. It's got a blown motor now, but
well, I mean, it just
sits up on a lift in one of his storage buildings.
Just like most French things, it just surrendered when it got there. I'm still in there.
Are you done yet? Oh gosh,
of the American challenge. That's fucking awesome. On your diesel run in the was that a Passat or a Jetta?
Yeah, it was a Passat TDI.
On the Passat. So you didn't leave from the Red Ball specifically, right?
We weren't able to. It's because New York was shut down.
That's right.
So we left for Darien, but our one buddy who ran solo with him, our buddy Yumi, who I still think's the real solo record guy, he left in a Cadillac CTS, but he actually delivers organs for a living. So he had the right paperwork, the right boxes, everything. They didn't even look at him. He drove in in scrubs with a mask on. They just waved him through.
It's not cheating if you fucking... That's awesome. I don't know if... there's no rules against that or nothing.
And no cop's going to sit there and be like, you know what, just show me your papers. Yeah. COVID, like, everyone is scared. Don't talk to me. I might get cooties.
Right.
But,
you catch your cold.
But he left there. But, yeah, that's about 50 miles east of the Red Bull, so it's actually longer.
Yeah, it ends up being a little bit further.
I think we still got that record.
I would guess
because we had it up until recently, until a BMW diesel beat it.
Yeah,
which is what we thought would. Because a Passat TDI is not fast.
Right.
We just got lucky. We carried the inertia the entire time. The only thing that slowed us down was that when Arnie got hit in the AMG.
Yeah.
And that's where we kind of wanted to call it quits. And
he's like, no,
he's like, dude, keep going.
That was cool of Arnie, though.
Yeah, Arnie's a very stand-up dude.
Yeah, it could have just been the end of it. He's like, you better keep going. Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's super cool. How did the Saab treat you on your C2C? That's
the big thing everybody says. I thought for sure we'd have like the engine block scattered across 80 somewhere in like Illinois or some shit.
Right, because that was a GM era Saab.
Yeah. And we had the one transmission issue where the tranny light popped on. It overheated. We pulled over for a second at a gas station, and then we said, fuck it, we're just going to keep going until if it blows, it blows. It never blew. On the way back, the light turned off.
It was 2 3s. Is that what those are? Are those 2 3s?
I have no clue. It might be a 2.3.
I think it's
or a 2.0. I can't remember.
Okay.
I'm not my car.
I know there were V6s in the no, maybe not in the 9.3s. There were V6s in the Arrows, but I think there were. I think
my buddy Nick is a Saab fanatic, and he's got everything. Like the brakes on it were the bigger Turbo X brakes, I believe. Like he took the best parts off of every Saab.
Yeah, he knows how to go stop plus on all of it.
But the issue is we upgraded the brakes, but never upgraded the ABS pump. And that is believed what failed us when the wheels locked up when the van pulled in front of us.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And your flat spot and shit.
Yep. And unfortunately, we know people everywhere. So our buddy Josh Passahouse, it's 36 letters long and I can't say it. He owned a shop in Pennsylvania called Nothing Leaves Stock.
Okay.
Which I knew my younger days as a Volkswagen kid. He made some amazing cars. So we were able to get to his shop and fix some stuff. But with the time frame we have, we weren't able to go back out and redo it.
Gotcha.
And that's when I had to grow up a little bit and realize I can't keep doing this all the time. So that's kind of when I retired from Cannonball.
You're going to come out from retirement, though.
I always said if another event pops up, I'd do that. But it just takes so much out of you.
For sure. I could see that. It's a dedication.
I'm in bed for like a week after falling asleep.
It's like drinking real heavily the day before and you're out of commission for a day afterwards. Talk your shit. Who's the best co-pilot you've ever had? You got to pick one. A crew. I guess if the event was with a couple people, you can pick a couple people.
If my event was another people, I'd definitely have my buddy Nick. Nick would be on my team for sure. Because he's such a smart dude, and we have laptops full of information, documentation. We know he was so good at setting up the scheduling. He knew we would drive 300 miles, and there's this gas station where we can pull off, fill up, and then switch drivers. And that's how it is. But I would be one that would break that. I want to drive until I'm tired.
Yeah.
And that worked. That works for me.
Mm-hmm.
So they would definitely be with Nick. I don't know who my second person would be. Because Wes is a good driver. Our buddy Greg is a really good driver. He was on our failed run. Because Wes couldn't make it. And then what else?
Was he outside of the car throwing up? Do you remember that story? Something like that? Is that a different one I'm thinking of? Something about food
that was a different one I was on. Yeah, that's on the SL500 run.
Okay.
Where I freaking woke up to my driver falling asleep, and I got car sick instantly.
That was you, okay? I was trying to put together in my head. I'm like, I know I've heard this.
Yeah, we pulled over to switch drivers. As I'm getting back in the car, all the Las Vegas street racers were going south of Vegas. They go out to Terrible's truck stop, which is like 30 miles out from Vegas, and they just race the freeways there and back.
Okay.
And that's how I get back in the car. As I'm pulling back on, I got these two flame-spitting Lambos past me, like I'm standing still. And then all the other cars start rolling up.
Okay.
And that was fun. But because when we got to Terrible's, I had to get out. I went and fucking took a shit. I'm like, damn it. I got car sick and I got the shit scared out of me.
You literally got the shit scared out of you. Who's the best crew you've had so far? Would you do it again with?
It would still be with Nick.
Okay.
Nick and Wes or Nick and Greg.
Gotcha. I mean, it sounds like it was like a cohesive team. Everything was
It's
planned
so hard
out.
to
It was
find
so
a good team. That's the thing.
calculated and
Because we're all we're all a little crazy, and then there's some people that are fanboys that think they can do it, and they really don't do it.
that would be me. I think I can do it, but
They get behind the wheel and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm just driving.
speed limit.
Yeah, you're doing 82 and a 70, man. Come on.
Those are rookie numbers, but you gotta pump those numbers up. Oh man, well you're empty, I'm empty, and I got to pee. So I'd say let's take a quick break and
Okay.
we'll get back to it. I also have t-shirts. If you want one of these t-shirts, I'll put an overlay right here in front of me. You can either send me a message on Facebook or send an email to the address in the description. Let's get back to it. Something that surprised me was like your music taste. I don't even remember what it was on Facebook. I saw you comment because I was about to go comment on something.
Yeah.
And I saw that you had commented on it was like an old video from some post-hardcore band in like a very small venue. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Was it the oh gosh, I can't pierce the veil and someone else doing that hardcore show in Vegas in a hotel room? That's the last one I remember right now.
Dude, it might have been. Oh god.
And Silverstein, it was Pierce the Veil and Silverstein singing
For all those sleeping?
Yes.
I feel like, does that ring a bell?
No.
No? It was like some small venue. I don't know, but like...
No, because here's my thing, like, I hate butt rock and I hate dad rock. So I listen to all these like little independent bands. And all my indie bands are getting cool and hip now, and I hate them now.
Yeah, because they're
Like,
no longer hip and indie.
I used to go to see the Menzingers for $15 in Cleveland, and now they're $45 to go see for a ticket. For a band from Scranton, PA. Come on.
So
Like-
if I said the phrase, and what the fuck is up, Denny's, you're going to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That tells me all that I need to know. But I guess for anyone listening that doesn't understand that, it doesn't matter. Fucking look it up. Just look up what the fuck is up, Denny's, and I'm sure there will be some gif.
No, my musical
some
taste, they call it orgcore.
Call it what?
Orgcore.
Org?
Yes.
With
There's a website called punkrocknews.org.
Okay.
And I would go on there and find bands and like Silver Sun Pickups is putting an album out, or like some random town, they Satanic Butthole Surfers, or I think I just combined two bands. They were going on a 20th anniversary tour. Like, they just post everything. And
This shit just makes me feel old.
but it was also a website that's very opinionated. Like, they like their bands. So my favorite band's Hot Water Music. That's one of their bands. And then you got stuff like the Gaslight Anthem and the Bouncing Souls, and you start going like Spanish love songs and all that stuff. They were all bands that they talked about a lot and interviewed. So the term orgcore came off of bands from there. And it's always like...
That's funny how that works.
It's always like rough, gravelly voiced bands. That's orgcore.
Oh, dude, we were at rough gravelly. We were at Applebee's last night, and they got touch tunes. Yeah, when Applebee's doesn't have touch tunes, and I'm just like, there's a lot of old people. Like I think we divided the median age in that place by probably 30, but it was like a bunch of old people, us, and a table of younger people than us. And I was like, I'm gonna play 8 Creed songs in a row. We're gonna like, finish with Higher.
Like that other bar we were just at. It was like AC/DC, Thin Lizzy, and then some other band like that played. And I just blew it up. I had Taken Back Sunday going.
Yes.
I played like 10 songs after that. And I'm like, I gotta waken this up a little bit.
I miss Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a live video of them?
No, I haven't.
They're fucking terrible.
But
Dude, I love their studio music.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Like Thursday's the same way.
Oh yeah.
I love Thursday, but live they play like the same 3 songs.
Yeah. It's those bands that could play one song live that everybody would know, and it would be fun. It'd be a good time. And
Don't talk about Hawthorne Heights like that.
I mean, my heart's in Ohio. Fuck. Fuck. Like I said, that wasn't even on the thing. I just wanted to address that. That came back.
Cars to music.
Yeah, that came back into my memory. I was like, what the fuck did I see you comment on? I wanted to ask you about your experience at the Backyard 400, besides what we talked about earlier, besides flipping it.
It was a blast.
It sounds so fun.
And I wish they were able to do another one. But it's like one of those one-off events. And Travis does his the Holden cookout every year. And that's kind of like his big thing a year. Because when you start doing more and more big things, neighbors start complaining, and he's got 2 neighbors that are just horrible.
That's what it sounds like.
And everybody else is cool. But those other people, they're not invited. We were doing the race, and they were burning a stack of wood during the race. I'm like, well, who does that?
I can't imagine having neighbors and doing shit like that. So props to him. And it's like, I guess in my best Travis Bell impression, which I can't do, I guess I have the deeper voice too, but it's like, and we only got the cops called on us one time. And then the VINwiki music starts playing. But it sounds like it was a good time. So I mean, like, how many people were on the track at once, and how fucking chaotic was it?
I don't even know. Because you can't pass anybody. It's not like you're 2 cars wide.
With a go-kart that's doing this.
And your steering wheels.
It's like holding a CD.
Yeah.
Trying to.
And like, we got these Harbor Freight Predator motors with no restrictor plates on them. And you buy the $40 performance kit for it. And it's just, people were blowing up motors, rebuilding them. I think they bought every Predator motor within 40 miles.
They probably set the premium on Harbor Freight fucking Predator motors.
They set the premium on those carts.
I remember
those yard carts. They were like $300-400 running and driving. But when that went live, everyone within 200 miles of Indianapolis were buying them.
Yeah.
And fucking, they shot up. Just like everything else.
It's like when fucking Ed Bullion single-handedly inflates like the Murcielago market or the Gallardo market or something like that.
And Doug's trying to do that with stick Aston Martins.
I would never want an Aston Martin.
Oh, I love Astons.
I mean, I bet they're sweet.
Driving those.
It'd be great to drive, but dude, just from watching like Car Trek and shit, I don't know if I could live with an Aston Martin. I know that's overinflated. Like it's a little dramatic just for views, and I respect that. But like, I still don't know if I could live with an Aston. It's like
when I had my $17,000 Aston Martin Vantage convertible.
What?
I would take the car shows with no door panels on it and not give a fuck, and that was great. That was a lot.
How'd you get it for $17,000?
Because it was at a little hillbilly auction. Nobody wanted it.
Hell yeah.
You Google the VIN, it shows up to a Copart auction in L.A. Salvaged it. I had a clean title. I don't give a shit.
I was just going to ask if you could produce a title for it.
Yeah. Someone washed that title eventually.
I mean, it is what it is. I was like I was telling you, I wanted to buy a Quattroporte for a little bit, but dude, I don't know if I could live with it.
Okay, so I left the car dealership I was running to go shoot armor for a living. Worked for a company called Team Wendy. We made the best ballistic helmets in the market. And so I had to keep like a bunch of government clearances. I couldn't get in any trouble to do this because we worked for the government and all this. And it got to the point where I hated it. So I left there, and that's when I got my Audi S6 out in Reno, and I drove that back. And then I worked in O'Reilly's for like 3 months.
Okay.
And my buddy's like, dude, you should not be working here. I'm like, it's just easy. It's literally next to my house. And like, oh my God, I dealt with so many dumb people.
At O'Reilly's?
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Like, it's walk in and tell me exactly what you want. Don't try to explain it to me because you're going to be wrong. And you're going to be mad when I try to correct you.
It's that meme of the whatever his name is from Parks and Rec when it's like, can I help you? I know more than you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, and I thought I was going to go farther working for them, but I didn't like the pay. I still work there part-time for the discount.
At O'Reilly's?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Like 3 days a month.
I thought about doing that with Arby's. I'm not going to lie.
And like, what's cool about it is O'Reilly sponsors a lot of the guys I know. So like, you got they sponsor Vice Grip Garage, Derek. They sponsor Jared Pink at Questionable Garage. Jared's an awesome dude. And in every video, he's got the big O'Reilly's banner in the background.
Fuck, maybe I should hit him up. I was like, what do you want from me? I'll wear the shirt. I don't give a fuck.
But like it would be like I would mostly work Sunday evenings because what am I gonna do on a Sunday night?
Right.
I'll be sitting at a bar getting drunk. And like it's always the people that waited all weekend to fix their cars and then go to work on Monday. And they're like, I'm sorry I don't have a brake caliper for a 2001 Buick LeSabre, dude.
Right. I can order it, I guess.
Yeah, I can order it.
I can try to find one.
It's in our database. And then I'll be like, oh, it's actually over at the Willoughby Hills store, the Menor store. It'd be like, those are 2 exits from each other, either way. No, it's too far. Well, that's your fucking problem.
Yeah, call an Uber.
I had a guy with an F-250. He had it ripped apart in the parking lot. I don't know what was wrong with this truck. And the trashy dude walked in with his buddy, and this guy can barely walk, so he leans on everything. He's like, oh, you should give him my discount. I'm like, okay, what's your shop? Camel Toe. I'm like, what the fuck?
You know what I can give you, sir? I can give you some advice to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Is it 2-wheel or 4-wheel? Is it manual or automatic? I'm going to go through all the questions.
Can you explain to me what the gasket looks like for the water pump on a Toyota pickup truck? For anyone who doesn't know that joke, it looks like a dick. Like,
I'll put it in the overlay. I don't know why I just knew what you meant, but you know what I mean? Oh, it's good shit.
But like it'd be dumb stuff like that, or you'd have people come and using other people's shop accounts. But it would be like a friend of mine's dealership because I go to work, I talk to more people, I see people I know. It sucks. And at the first time it was a little embarrassing because they'd walk in, they'd be like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" After I'd been working at all these dealerships and all that, I'm like,
no, I don't work. I just like the merch. Yeah, I just love I love the uniform.
I just love O'Reilly green.
It's my favorite. It's close to Menards green.
Yes.
You know, guys, don't get me wrong. I just love the color. You know, I can go either way. I feel like if you're into car, like if you even consider yourself a car person, you have to like work in an auto parts store for like
at least once.
At least once. It can be for a couple weeks. You don't need to work there long to get the experience.
But no, I quit my one ballistic testing job and I just walked in and they knew me. I'm like, kind of need a job. They're like, you're hired. Okay. Can you start tomorrow? And it was cool. I had a really good manager. We were like number 2 store in our district. We did a lot of sales and I dealt with a lot of cool people and stuff. And I can't retire from that.
True.
And what am I going to do? Everybody who's above me with the big jobs, it's not like they're 66 years old. They're like 42, 43. What's up, Chet? You want to do drugs later so I can get your job? Like, shit like that.
Go out back and smoke some meth.
Hey, yo, Chad's smoking meth out back. He's fired. Can I have his job?
Sure, you're hired. I was hired. I already work here. It doesn't matter. You're in. God, I bet that'd be fun. When you think of Rob Pitts,
yes,
what's your first memory that comes to mind?
Like he's one of my more favorite people I ever got to meet. What's crazy is when I got into this whole VINwiki thing, it was a young channel. I don't even think it had 1 million views.
I don't think so.
Or
either.
1 million subscribers.
It was early.
But like all these dudes who I got obsessed. All those early videos of the first few years are just so good, and they're all real stories. Like when you hang out with all these people, and like that's how we kind of know each other. Just we've all dealt with the same stuff. Like going to buy a Corvette from an estate sale. I've done that. Doug's done that. The family gets all weird and just the dad might be the brother might be selling the car, but the mom doesn't realize it's for sale and shit like that.
Yeah,
like that's real stuff that happens. And like with Chris Michaels, all his stories. When you talk to him separately, some of the details he says, yeah, he rode his Harley through India. And like all the other dudes who have been in India, like when he dealt with people, like he's like, yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
He does seem super.
You
genuine.
have to be there to know that experience. It's not something you can just go read online.
Yeah.
And and I always connected with him. He was the one guy on that channel that I felt more like than anything else. And we met for the first time out at PRI a couple of years ago. And it was my first time ever at PRI. And it was a blast. We went out, we did all kinds of stuff. And there's a joke. There's VINwiki, then there's SinWiki. There's stuff that we can't talk about on VINwiki. It's a SinWiki. There's even a shirt for it.
I guess we'll just save that for this show.
Yeah, and when a bunch of us get together, like there's the party group, there's the married group, and everyone goes their separate ways a little bit.
Yeah.
We ended up at a strip club in Indianapolis, right by the airport. And we're sitting at this, and this is back when he had Matt, the camera guy, was filming for him, was an awesome dude. We're all sitting at this table in the middle of all three of these stages. And we're drunk, we're having a blast. And I stand up, and I just love the simple green VINwiki shirt. The bright green, the white VINwiki.
Yep.
We get sent them all the time. I got 100 of them, I feel like. Every time I open something, I find one. It's stupid. Well, I'm wearing that shirt hammered, going to the ATM to get taken by a stripper. They call her the piano teacher because she told me she was a piano teacher. But,
Sorry. Anyway.
And this kid grabs me. And they were working a booth at PRI. And he's like, dude, I love VINwiki. And I had a couple of videos out. But, like, I'm always like, yeah, it's sweet. I love the channel. Like, I reel people in. Like, and sometimes they get it. They're like, oh, shit, I know you. And then sometimes they're like space cadets just out of the fucking orbit. They don't it's whatever. But, so I'm sit there and I point. I'm like, well, you're going to shit your pants, dude. Because that's Rob Pitts right there. And the kid's like, oh, my God, there's titties everywhere. And he's focused on Rob Pitts at a strip club.
So in a world full of titties, it's Rob Pitts.
Oh, my God. And that's one of my favorite memories of it. And then during Travis's birthday, we were all down there together. We bar hopped and stuff. And because Travis doesn't drink, but everyone else does.
Mm-hmm. Travis seems like he'd be a good host in that kind of way,
and
where he's sitting and hang out with everybody and have some fun. And
he's one of the best people I ever met in my life. They all are. And I've been grateful for the opportunities I've gotten from meeting these people. Just being some dude from Ohio that did stupid shit. But that was it. And as we're leaving and that was the first time I was really on camera doing anything else too, because he was filming all of PRI and we talked to people and we had fun. It was, oh gosh, where am I getting at now? It's just kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
And it was kept secret that he had cancer. Because he finished out the show.
Yeah. His Netflix show.
Yeah. Uh-oh, who's calling me? Uh-oh. I don't care about suspected spam.
I got one of those earlier too. I was like, nah, not today.
But yeah, that kind of hit hard because he was filming when he found out he had cancer. And didn't tell anybody.
Dude, he didn't change at all.
I could see it.
Well, I mean, you could, looking back on it and knowing, you can see it, but I think
especially in the later episodes where he's not driving the vehicles. When he's sitting passenger, like you can see it in his face. And like 2 weeks before he passed away, we all went down there for his birthday. And we all flew into Atlanta. A bunch of us drove up to North Carolina. And we had dinner with him. And it was a very sad ordeal to go through.
Yeah.
Because I was on a flight down there for his birthday like 3 days after I found out. Because they kept it secret. So it was only Travis and Ed that knew. I think like Doug might have known. Like it wasn't out there.
Yeah.
So, and like I couldn't go. Let's see. So what had happened was, I got to backtrack a little bit. I got out of all this stuff because I got hired by a company called Cleveland Motorsports. I was delivering Bentleys, Rolls Royces, picking them up for service, truck and trailer. So I had to have a squeaky clean record. I couldn't do anything I didn't want to do. I enjoyed it. A good buddy of mine was given this dealership from the large group network here, and I just had to stay good. So he let me go down to Atlanta for the birthday. But when we came back, when it happened, it's like, how did this go? He's like, if you want to go, you can go, but I didn't want to. You can't have me leaving this many times as soon, disappear for a little bit. So
I get it.
But yeah, and what hit hard is when they started announcing season 2 of that show. And I'm like, shit, he's not here. And what's crazy, and then the day he died, he blew up everywhere.
Everywhere.
And I'm like, wow, this dude from that a show that like not every person knows is getting treated like this, and it was sad, and it was very nice because that's all he wanted people to know who he was, and like that voice, like honey and gravel is what they call it, and I love it. I
honey
love
and
that
gravel, and it's so true.
And,
like I tried to emulate that when I was like, I would just do little short 1 minute videos when I worked at the dealership, and I was like, Rob commands that fucking presence that like it just makes.
And I also remember too during the he did that quote, boom, I got a race car.
It's coming in. We got this. God help me, I got a race car, but it's going to be fun.
And that blew up. Like every kid with a turbo Honda Civic. Yeah, you.
I use that in my video.
Yeah, like every kid with a car used that.
It was like last year.
Oh my God, I got a race car. Like,
man, I've never been. I can't say that, no, because I was upset when the drummer from Avenged Sevenfold passed away.
Who?
I was upset when Chester Bennington passed away. I was upset when Rob passed away.
Yeah.
I wish I got the chance to meet Rob. Like we had a couple conversations on
in
Facebook
quotations,
and shit.
like celebrities. Like I didn't cry when Michael Jackson died. I cried when Billy Mays died.
Billy Mays died? No,
on the same day.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, and it's just something we have to deal with all the time, you know?
Yeah. But
especially these people you follow, and with the way social media is, they're always posting stuff online about it.
Dude, I
like
watch
these social media guys, like what is it? Is it Randy Savage? Savage Garage, when he died, that was sad. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people I know knew him. I don't follow that stuff. Just like DDE, I don't follow that channel either.
I don't either.
I
guess it's going downhill.
I like real content, which is why Vice Grip Garage is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. And that dude...
I love Vice Grip Roadkill for the same reason.
Everyone's got such good things to say about that Derek guy.
Yep.
And you got people that try to do it that suck.
Yeah.
And,
that's why I like...
but you also got to have money.
That's where the Cletus McFarlanes come into play, where like their channel's doing so well that they just have that money. But I also feel like that's real shit too. Yeah. Like I do feel like it's mostly genuine.
You have to. It's good to have a good. He's also how many million views does Cletus have? Subscribers?
A lot. I think 4 million.
I think it's more than that.
I think he just hit 4.
But
just on YouTube
with sponsors and all that stuff, and I would love to go do an Ultima race.
Oh, dude, it looked like so much fun.
Or the Ranger race and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't want to flip a Ranger necessarily, but I'd love to be a part of it.
I have some friends that have done it. My buddy Dave Lockhart just did the Ultima race with a coupe.
Yeah, he did.
And I'm like, that'd just be so cool to get into. And then I think one dude drove from like Idaho with his daily driver, knocked out the windows and spray painted a number and raced his daily driver.
That's got to be awesome. I think Travis has an in with Cletus, dude. You could probably make that shit happen.
I don't have the time.
You could probably make the time.
Like I'm broke. I'm poor.
I feel me too, but I can't just go buy an Ultima and fucking ruin it.
God, we're just jumping all over the place with these stories.
Yeah, but I mean, the very short version, I guess, of what I was getting at was like I was, without knowing him personally, like I was upset when Rob passed away because I was in the middle, like. Because with all the content that I watch, like, I'll go through it in spurts. Like, 3-4 years ago, it was like every time VINwiki uploaded, I got the notification, I'd queue it for my drive home that day. I was literally in the middle, catching back up on was it just on his channel that he did Rabbit's Used Cars? I think that
was just his own channel.
Yeah, I was catching back up on Rabbit's Used Cars because he was busy with the Netflix shit, understandably.
And then he went through stages where there was different like camera guys and stuff like that. And
yeah, and I was in the middle of catching back up with that because like obviously like the regular person outside of his circle didn't really know it was coming.
Yeah.
And then you get the video right before he passes away. Mm-hmm. I don't even know the guy.
I think that video was loaded right after he passed. I can't remember, or like the day before. I can't remember.
Yeah, I never even knew the guy. And it's hard to talk about, but like, that's like the impact that dude has on people, though.
Yep.
And I can only imagine being kind of in a circle, knowing him personally too. But like, if he's got that kind of impact on somebody that's never met him, yeah, I can't imagine. Fuck, that's hard to talk about.
Way to bring down the vibe.
I know.
You just lost like 3 subscribers.
Fuck them. Fuck them.
3 out of 34. It's all right.
They can leave.
And he's not the first person that's passed away that's been on that channel too. The guy that ran, what's that big BMW shop in Columbus? Not Mag.
I've been there.
EAG, Enthusiast Auto Group.
ECS?
No, not ECS.
Oh, never mind. I haven't.
Well, he was on a bike and passed away.
Oh, damn.
He got hit, but he was a good dude too. I don't know.
I think I've hit pretty much everything I wanted to do, at least for this one, and I'd love to do this again with you and have another one of these too. What are your plans going on from the future? Like, what are you doing now, and what do you want to do?
Well, I went back to go work for a big dealership group around here, and my buddy was a GM, and he talked me into going to do that. So I did, and it was great. And I got some traveling, got to drive all kinds of crazy stuff, and if you bought a new Rolls Royce, I'd go deliver it to you from our dealership group, and then like I did some big saves. Like I took a Ferrari 488, I think, all the way out to Phoenix. A week paid vacation because a shipper showed up with the wrong paperwork. Because shippers are sketchy.
Shippers are, especially now.
Yep.
It's been a big thing lately.
I think
shippers
there's like
are sketchy.
There's 3 well-known cars right now from the social media dudes that their cars are missing in shipment.
Yeah.
And
I just watched one of those.
You roll up to a gas station and the dude's got 4 different names on his truck.
Yep.
With a hole in the size of the Titanic. And it's stuff like that. There's no regulations for that. They get pulled over because their truck's damaged, you get a ticket. They keep going.
Yeah.
Just because their name's Ivan and he'll get in trouble, just go back home. And everything comes back to another dude named Ivan in like New Jersey or something like that. I got this theory. And he's
in a group chat with Ivan, Igor, and...
I have this theory about all these hotshot drivers because none of them speak English. It drives me nuts. They have to do text onto their phone what they're trying to say. I think they might have a cousin that looks like them. You got Ivan, Igor, Cletus, some Asian dude named Frank. Like, I think they all have a relative in like New Jersey or somewhere like that they just use their license. And then they just, until they get in trouble, and then they go back home. And then another Ivan comes in that looks just like him.
Right. His cousin Ivan.
Yeah. Like I sold 3 K cars to a movie company in Detroit. They were supposed to be in Detroit that day. They got picked up at like 8 o'clock in the morning. 2 days later, they never arrived. The truck was found out towards Toledo going up into Michigan, flipped over on the side of the road. And the driver was gone. And they picked him up trying to cross into Canada.
Holy shit.
So, it's sketchy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, we got 2 new Maseratis dropped off at work. Because we were Rolls-Royce, Aston Martin, Bentley, and Maserati. Horrible brands. Not really. I like them. It's just...
Look, I wouldn't kick
my worst
Rolls-Royce
customers
out of
were
bed.
Maserati customers. They wanted everything. Like, here's cake in my hand now. Give me it.
I feel like a new Maserati customer might as well just buy a fucking Ram.
Maseratis are for people that have good credit that know nothing about cars.
For sure. The SUV looks terrible.
What is it? The Eagles song my Maserati does 185? Is that how does that go? I don't know. There's an Eagles song where he talks about Maseratis. That's why people think about...
goes... It's Train, I'm pretty sure.
That's not Train.
Are you sure?
It's not Train.
Is it the Eagles?
That's the Eagles. Is that the...
okay,
whatever.
It sounds like Train. It's still Butt Rock. Yeah, it's Butt Rock, whichever way you twist it. Thank you.
But yeah, like, it's a known entity. Like, people like... they only want a Maserati because it's a fancy name.
Yeah, because you got the script on the back of the fucking car.
Like I would go pick up like service cars and stuff too, and we had loaners. It's funny, our entire fleet was BMW loaners. We were giving them a better car.
That's hilarious.
And so I took this BMW X1, which is a horrible car, to go pick up a Maserati Levante, the SUV, for service. I roll up to the chick's house. It takes her 20 minutes to come outside. The land hippo finally waddles out of her fucking house. And she's like, I'm not driving that. I only drive Maseratis. And then I'm like, okay, drive and take the fuck off. I got somewhere else to be. And I took that car to a different customer.
Good credit, know nothing about cars, dude. The Ghibli wasn't good from however you pronounce it. It wasn't good from the beginning.
I don't know enough about him.
Is that I feel like that was an existing car.
I would roll up to that dealership driving my O.J. Simpson Ford Bronco every day, not caring. I drove 66 miles a day to go to work.
Was Maserati ever like a really good brand?
I don't know.
They made what was the supercar? The MC12?
MC20, awesome car.
MC20, yeah. Awesome car.
And
$5 million
when they had
now.
their Ferrari engines in them, they were great. Like, we would have parts in the parts room. There were yellow Ferrari boxes with a white Maserati sticker on it.
Yeah. Just stuck on there.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, that's why I wanted a Quattroporte. I'm like, look, this thing's it's got a fucking Ferrari V8. This thing's sweet. When you hit they were all paddle shift, and when you hit it, it goes
Ferrari V8 in it. Ferrari prices.
Yeah. I heard so many terrible ownership experiences from like that. When did they start that body? 06 to like 08.
Like, here's my big thing too. Like, I was surprised to see some with the miles they had on them. I picked up this one Levante that had 170,000 miles on it. I'm like, how did this make it this long? Because the chick would just toss it all on her credit card to pay for the repairs. She didn't care.
Yeah, true. Do they share parts with something in the U.S. market now?
No clue.
Dude, I don't have any idea?
Want to say something, Dodge?
I wanted to say that too.
Oh, Maserati is. I think the Charger. I think the chassis of the Charger.
What the fuck?
Which goes back farther, the Mercedes chassis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whatever the hodgepodge bullcrap that is.
So like like a Levante is really not that much different from a Pacifica.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy an Alfa Giulia. I was looking at a Giulia, and then I was literally just on a website for the dealership, and the dash is straight out of a Pacifica. The gauges, the light switch, the selector, and I'm like, I don't want to look, because I've sold so many Pacificas during like my sales tenure, and I don't want to get into a car every day, which I would say arguably is one of the most beautiful new sedans on the market. It's a gorgeous car. Almost every angle of that is.
And everyone I know that owns the Alphas,
fine.
They love them. They love their Alphas. I don't know why. I think they just have that old mentality from back in the day, where people would just. Thought someone was coming to that door.
Yeah. Sorry. We'll sick Tim on him. It's like, go get him, dude.
What did he say?
Get him out of here. I don't know. It's just like they're so beautiful, but I don't want to sit in that seat and see the infotainment, the gauges, the light selector.
And it would be like that when I would drive. We had a Rolls-Royce Spectre, which is that all-electric Rolls-Royce they sell now. Ugh. And I had one I'd go pick up for service and drive it. And it's like you're on a magic carpet. Like, it's just, you don't feel you're floating everywhere. So
I'd love to drive a Rolls, at least just to do it.
I don't know how many I've driven, but it's... So my first week on the job... So I had this big trailer. It was a 28-foot enclosed trailer with a rail rider system in it. So you load the car outside of it and load it in. I never knew the doors open themselves.
No shit.
If you open the door, and I open the door and I get in, I'm digging for the keys, the door kept opening up. And it ran up the cable for the trailer door. Put an inch-long scratch at the bottom of the door.
Oh, man.
The guy's assistant, I dealt with assistants, flipped out. You couldn't even see it. It was a $40,000 fix.
Holy shit, for a scratch on the door?
Yes.
I mean, I guess
that you couldn't
I
see.
get it because I know there's got to be a Rolls Royce tax associated with that, but like
Well, it's
at the
that,
end of the day,
and then
it's
all the it's Rolls Royce and Aston Martin. Their metal flakes something else. It's not metal. It's they only do it in Great Britain, I think.
okay.
I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about. It's something like this. It's like glass inside the paint instead of metal.
Oh, that's
metal
cool.
flake, and that throws up the cost. The dude didn't give a shit. His assistant just flipped out for no reason. He'll tell you to take the car back and buy it, and he'll just buy a new one because you ruined it. I'm like, shut up.
Get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah, it had 400 miles on it. I picked it up 3 months later for service with 410 miles on it.
You got to be kidding me.
I ran into that all the time.
Dude, I daily that motherfucker. That's a daily driver.
Well,
if you're
the
a rich
dude
dude.
lived down in Cincinnati, and this was black and teal. He had a Pagani that was also black and teal. All his cars were black and teal. He owned some big construction company.
It's like going into someone's garage
And
on
he never drove any
GTA
of
5
this
and
stuff.
everything.
Yeah,
Fucking
exactly.
got big blue wheels on it.
God, GTA was such a great game back in the day.
It still sucks, but I still play it almost
I
every
can't.
day.
I got on it a couple years ago. I got hit by a rocket, and some guy on a jet bike flew past me. I'm like,
Yeah, it's the same with Rocket League. Like, I used to be kind of good at it, and now I know I'm just
so
getting smoked
far-
by a
I'm
9-year-old.
so far behind in the updates that it's not.
It's impossible to
Yeah.
jump back in.
Last time I played it, all the time was when you could buy the boat. The boats.
Oh, the big, like the yacht.
Yes.
Yeah, the big boat.
And then when
Biggest
the
waste of money
submarines, and
ever.
then military bases, and then
Yeah.
blimps, and then something stupid. I
Like
don't know.
cyborgs. I'm
You
out.
can't keep up with it.
No. What's what's the 04 Rich Rolls Royce? Is it the Phantom?
Yeah.
Am I thinking of the Phantom that's got the big flat front end?
Yeah.
And, oh, dude, I want one of those.
That's
so
another
bad.
Facebook group I love.
I love 04
I love
Rich.
04 Rich.
It's kind of toxic.
Yes, very toxic.
It's super toxic, but and it's funny when you see like someone post like an 03 just Mustang GT and shit. It's like, oh, just join the club, and then you get like 9 dudes posting Phantoms and Continental GTs and
All these Facebook groups are very toxic. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Like you go on and it's people running their mouth about nothing. And I love Ford Raptors. I want to buy a Raptor this year. No clue if I want a first or second gen.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember back when I was buying them cheap at auction, and they're not cheap anymore. A good 6'2 Raptor still.
oh, forget about
goes
the
for
40
good money.
grand. Yeah.
And I go in the group and I see these guys. They're like, "Yeah, I paid $32,000 for this one. It's got 170 on it. Look at the rocker panels." I'm like, "You." And it's always like some dude from like California buying it, and he had it shipped in from Ohio or Illinois.
For sure.
I'm like, that's your fault. Ohio's a weird place. There's so many weird specific specialty shops around here, and you never guess it because people think Ohio's just cornfields, but it's
Yeah.
also cornfields, Porsches, and Lambos.
Yeah,
Like,
it's fucking TikTok because they made Ohio an adjective.
yes.
It's so Ohio. It's like it's not fucking grammatically correct for one, and Ohio's not that bad. It's not bad. It's just Michigan with really no elevation changes.
And our weed's more expensive.
Yeah, you got to
That's a
go
whole-
north of the border for
That's
that.
a whole different
That's
podcast.
yeah, we'll do a fun one for that. Got any like big plans for the future? Or you're doing upholstery
we
and
talk
shit
about
now,
so
and-
much stuff. I forget about like other things I talked about too. Like,
Me too.
so when I did that delivery to Phoenix to save the deal, when I came back, my buddy was let go from the dealership. I rolled in on a Monday at like 2:00 in the afternoon, and it was like a bomb went off in a third world country. Like everyone was quiet. There was people walking around I never knew, and that's kind of was my downfall working there. Just I wasn't happy because I was going to move up to other roles to buy cars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Instead of just being this dude who did everything. So I drove the truck. I ended up delivering the parts. So a part the size of my cell phone would be a $10,000 computer chip on a Spectre or a Cullinan or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'd just go hand deliver it. They'd get in my car 3 hours later, I'm dropping it off. It was awesome. And then back in November, 90 shut down. For a whole week, I was going back and forth from Buffalo, dropping off this guy's Rolls Royce and Bentley collection for service. I got stuck up there in a snowstorm. I got stuck in I got down to Jamestown, PA to see my buddies. I stayed with him, and I went up. 90 shut down. You couldn't leave New York, so I was taking back roads. I got stuck on a back road for 12 hours.
Holy shit.
And no one cared. It was a Saturday. My service manager texted me twice. The current GM walked in. He's like, "Oh, where's the truck and trailer at?" They're like, "You didn't hear? Mark's stuck up in New York in a snowstorm." He's like, "Oh, ha," and back steps out of the office and walks away. And I'm like, that's when I realized I'm just a number.
Yeah.
And I've always done a little bit of interior work, like seat covers. I could do all that stuff. And a buddy of mine back May last year said he's retiring, and if I wanted to buy his business. And at that time, I'm like, nah, I'm pretty good set right here. Well, I changed my mind, and I bought it back in December. So this year I've been taking care of. I'm the headliner king in Northern Ohio right now. I love doing headliners. It's easy money.
It's quick, easy money.
And I spend more time cleaning the old glue off than anything else. So I decided to step away and start doing that, and then I can start doing my own fun things again. So upholstery work's what I'm doing.
Hell yeah.
I'm signing up for old lady stitching classes and gonna go probably knock up someone's grandmother at these old places, at this sewing places.
That sounds like a fucking blast.
Oh, hell yeah. What up, girl? You got AARP?
Oh, shit. Well, I guess on that note, we'll save the rest for another one.
You want to do part 2?
I'd love to do part 2.
Probably got a 3, 4, or 5. Probably
Yeah.
go with the part 69 if you try hard enough.
Oh, man, dude, let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Let's do a cannonball. What?
Oh, God.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Sure.
Thanks, Mark.
Oh, God. I'm going to keep talking now.